Welcome back, viewers, and thank you for staying tuned. Now, Mr. Nazmul Haq was actually talking about his where he started and why he took up another shop right in front of his restaurant and actually made a successful business out of that. But the point is that we've spoken before the break, which was, I think, is very important, and I need to repeat this or put it in a different word actually. He had a very difficult time knowing that somebody else, another competitor, is coming right opposite him. The property had car parking space, it has so many more benefits than his business, and he felt like a sense of threat about it. So it's something that's happening to them at that time was negative, you know, that what he's done, he looked back and he thought to himself, hold on, you know, what can I take out of this, you know, what can I do in order to stop this competitor coming in. Now, viewers, just see the way business people think here, and this is one I think a thought of or a successful businessman would do. It's just a trait of a successful businessman. What he did is he went out and looked for what other opportunities there are in this area, what sort of businesses he can do, and he came up with the idea of a grocery business, and he's done this grocery business there. So something that's negative happened, what has he done? He's pulled positive out of it. That's exactly what you did, absolutely. Didn't you? And you know, I love the idea, how you thought about it and how you did the calculations. He did the calculation, he thought to himself, even if I buy this freehold, it's going to cost me X amount per month, empty council business rate, it's going to cost me X amount. It's not going to be a bigger dent than a competitor coming in. Great idea, great thoughts. Anyway, we're going to carry on from here. We were talking about your father supporting you. He was always there to push you and help you, which is great. You know, not everybody gets that, all right? And it doesn't mean that you're alone when you don't get that.
No, absolutely.
By all means, there's mentors out there, there's family members out there who will support you mentally. I think the most important thing in life is somebody morally and mentally supporting.
Yeah, it's not just my father actually physically supported me as well. He actually helped me in the shop. There's a period where it was getting difficult for me to run the shop and the restaurant, and I didn't have enough hours in the day to do both.
Okay.
When my father stepped in, he was, because we had to do the marketing, the cash and carry, you know, all that involved in the grocery shop behind the scenes, where it's out of hours, you know, literally past midnight, you know, 3 o'clock in the morning, going to the vegetable market to pick up vegetables. My father stepped in, you know, and said, right, you know, you rest, I'll do this.
Wow.
So
another thing I really admired about you is that you actually took up another job, not for the sake of money, but the sake of knowledge, just to learn how the grocery side works, not the outside, the internal stuff. You know, so you took up a job in Tesco's, and you've dedicated your time, investment, that is your investment for the business, and then you came back with that knowledge and started your grocery shop. How long did that take, the process of learning?
I worked in Tesco, well, process of learning, I'd say it's still going on. You could never learn enough. But in Tesco's, I was there for 3 months just to kind of understand the basics. And I chose to work late hours because at that point I could actually speak to, it's not busy, there's no customers, I can actually speak to other staff members, the managers. Oh, how does this work? How does that work? How do you actually do the offers? What's, you know, I can ask them questions for the information that I need. If you're working during, for example, in a restaurant, when it's you know, 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. on a Saturday evening, nobody's going to be able to answer any questions, even if they wanted to, because everybody's busy. When it's not busy, Sunday afternoon, everybody's, you know, it's quiet. You can ask the chef, how do you do this? How do you do that? You can ask the manager, how does this work? How does that work? Same concept, you know, when it's not busy, I can ask the questions and I'll get the answers. But when it's busy, you're not going to be able to do it. So it was a 3-month period, it wasn't very long. It was asking the right questions to the right people. That's where I got the knowledge from. And then going on from my suppliers, I have to say, they did have a big hand in helping me as well set it up.
Yeah, they do. It's all about asking, isn't it?
It's all about asking, absolutely.
Mm.
If you don't ask, you don't get.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I believe a lot of people probably wouldn't say, I'm not going to go and work for somebody. I've got my own business.
Mm.
I don't want to say, but it's that arrogance that actually keeps us behind.
Yeah.
I'm not saying people are arrogant, but we do have that pride in us.
Yeah.
It's not arrogance, it's that pride. Oh, but what will people say if they see me working, in somebody else's business? Regardless for what reasons it is, they're going to look down their nose at me. That pride we need to take away out of our life. If we want to be successful, we need to take pride out of it, because pride will not let us achieve our goals.
Yes, definitely. And that's one thing I find as well. A lot of people, when you talk to them, you can't really talk to them because they seem to know everything. Even if it's not their business, if it's a different type of business, they seem to know all the answers for it.
Absolutely.
But what we need to learn, and what is very important, is that we learn and we educate ourselves in the business we are in.
Absolutely.
And it's constant flow of information we need to learn.
Well, it's a constant flow. It's with times we need to move on. And one of our problems is we've done something today and it's done perfectly. And that's it. We think that's it. The end of. It's be all and end all. Nothing's going to change. But in 10 years' time, they don't realize that what we've done today, which was perfect, is obsolete.
Yeah.
And we don't move on, so we don't learn, we don't acquire new information and new ideas.
Yeah. Coming back to the restaurant industry, I think that's one of the things that restaurant industry is lacking, especially the smaller to medium-sized ones. They're lacking moving on with technology, moving on with the new form of marketing strategies. I think that's the biggest problem. We're not learning.
And it's... We are stuck in our comfort, everybody, and it could be any industry. People like their comfort zone. People don't want to move out of it because they feel threatened, they feel isolated, the unknown is scary. With restaurants, we sold our restaurant in 2006, so 11 years ago. 11 years ago when I sold it, I had EPOS system in my restaurant in that day. We actually had EPOS system running our restaurant. From there, 11 years on, I can see now people actually moving towards EPOS systems and electronic waiter pads and so on and so forth. And this is the Indian industry literally a decade behind.
A decade behind, exactly, yeah.
And this is one of the reasons of our downfall. We are struggling in this industry because we're not moving on with times. We still think that we need an Indian, Bengali or Indian-speaking, Asian chef to do the cooking. We need Asian staff. We don't. We need to move on from that. We need to move on with the times. We need to see what's good for my business, not what's comfortable for me.
Okay, I don't know if it's right for me to say this or not, but this is a conversation I had just before the show with somebody about the restaurant trade. There's a lot of non-Bengali restaurateurs opening up with very big restaurants, mainly from the Pakistani community now, and they're opening very big restaurants and everything, and they're taking on Bengali chefs, right? And what the Bengali chef is doing is training their people from their community, and then all of a sudden we see we've mentioned 4 restaurants, and I'm sure there's so many more. They've actually taken them on the chef. They've got the chef to teach and train their people, and our chef is back again looking for a job in an Indian restaurant, in a Bengali restaurant. Right, so we need to start thinking what we're doing. Because our industry is being taken over, and we are the leader of the Bengali curry industry. Bengalis are the leader of
curry
the
industry, absolutely.
industry, and this is slowly but surely is being taken over.
It is being taken over.
Yeah. And the fact that you sold your business, you mentioned, is that one of the reasons?
One of the reasons was the lack of staff enthusiasm. In those days, it was difficult. Oxford's a small town. It's not highly populated with Asian ethnic people. The year I sold, I had a majority of mix employees, English, Polish, French, and Bengalis, obviously, because I couldn't, especially waiting staff. In the kitchen I had Bengalis predominantly, but I had a mixture of waiting staff because it was a staff problem. The reason for selling was I had enough of trying to juggle two businesses, because restaurant trade is something, if you're doing in the restaurant industry, you're in the restaurant industry. You can't do anything else. You know, time-wise, it's just awkward hours, long hours, and it doesn't leave room for family time.
Especially when you don't have the right staff in place.
Absolutely.
It's quite difficult.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Especially if you're living in an area where there isn't enough of your people in the community to manage your business, then it's quite difficult.
It is quite difficult. And to be honest, I saw that the curry industry was actually going downhill in the sense because of staff, because of immigration issues, because of lack of the way people are portrayed to the customers. You know, the Indian restaurant is portrayed to the customer is, let's go out for a curry and a beer, it's cheap. But we're not. The cost of our food is not cheap. And my prices were, in 11 years ago, my chicken curry was £8, where people were selling it at 5,
I know.
6 at the best.
I know. I don't think they're doing their cost per dish.
Yeah, cost per dish wasn't happening. I've always made sure that my costing was correct, and actually the bottom line was in a positive figure. My accountant, I have to say, he's not Asian, he's a white man, and retired now, but very good. He always used to say to me, Nosmal, turnover's vanity, profit is sanity. And what we always say, oh, I'm doing X amount a week, I'm doing £5,000, I'm doing £10,000, I'm doing £20,000, means nothing. It's all in vain if you don't have anything at the end of it after paying everybody.
Exactly, yeah.
It's pointless you doing £20,000 a week business when in 3 months' time you're struggling to pay your VAT quota.
Yeah. Very true.
Why do it? You're not in business to struggle for your VAT quota, because that wasn't your money anyway.
Okay. Very true, very true. Thank you very much. I know you mentioned about comfort zone earlier on. You know, people want to stay in their comfort zone. And here's something, viewers, I want to say to you. You know, the likes of Les Brown, the likes of Tony Robbins, within their speeches, they're always, saying that, if you're in your comfort zone, there's something wrong. Yeah. You shouldn't be comfortable when you're in business. No. To strive for success, you need to get out of your comfort zone and succeed. That's the only way. And the other thing is, fail to succeed. Yeah, fail to succeed. That's the way forward. Anyway, viewers, we're going to go to a break again. Stay tuned and we'll see you after the break.